I came across a really interesting video on TikTok that has left me questioning everything I knew about K-pop. The things that are shown to us barely scratch the surface, but it's kinda insane to think about how the most ordinary action can have a dark history behind it. Though they're interesting, keep in mind that these are just theories, not facts. Also, credits to Twice Pink Edits on TikTok for bringing these to my attention and literally opening my third eye. Shout out to her. Without wasting any more of your time, let's get into it. The bizarre truth behind cake dropping. There are many compilations of idols dropping their cakes while they're in the middle of celebrating something. Seriously, how does that cake manage to slide off the damn box almost every time? But rather than chalking it up to idols being clumsy, what if there's something darker going on behind the scenes? Well, according to a theory that has been circulating around the internet lately, idols might be dropping these cakes on purpose. The strict diets they go through are nothing new to K-pop fans, so what if in order to hide the fact that they're dieting, they drop the cake, you know, accidentally, so that they don't have to eat it? There are just way too many instances of cake dropping for it all to be a coincidence, and it really leaves you thinking, what's the truth? Horror diet. Speaking of unhealthy dieting habits, this theory takes things to a total extreme. Throughout history, some models have used illegal substances to stay in shape for their jobs because it makes them lose their appetite. And the rumor has it that K-pop trainees might be unfortunately using the same method so they can endure the training process and conform to the unhealthy beauty standards. Again, this is only just a theory, but considering the things trainees make themselves go through just so they can become idols, it may not be too far-fetched, and the industry is really dark behind closed doors. The scandal-free life of BTS. Don't you guys think it's a little bit weird that BTS members haven't had any scandals, like ever? Even the so-called scandals they were involved in were honestly pretty ridiculous. Like the time fans spotted a protection in the back of Jin's photo. When asked about the lack of any paparazzi photos, Dispatch answered that the members were always together, so they eventually gave up on following them. While this is very on brand for BTS, especially when knowing how close they are, fans think that a secret alliance is actually the reason the boys have been squeaky clean for 8 years. Since Dispatch has exposed everyone's dirty laundry except for BTS, some people think that Big Hit might have a deal with Dispatch to sweep the boys' dirt under the rug. That's why there are never any reporters following them, and also an alleged reason for the lack of any scandals. We don't know anything for sure, but you guys must admit that this whole thing smells a little bit fishy. EXO knew about Chris Wu's scandals. EXO's name keeps getting unfairly dragged down whenever Chris Wu comes up in the media, but everyone has good reasons to believe they cut Chris Wu off long before the scandal broke out. Chris left the group in 2014, but the other members seemed glad about it. Not exactly the kind of reaction you'd expect from his bandmates, but seeing the accusations Chris has been swept up in, everyone seems to think that maybe they knew something beforehand. They unfollowed Chris on their SNS accounts, and Chris basically made it public that they were no longer in contact. Chanyeol's Vogue caption for the picture he posted after Chris left is also raising a few questions because it read, "Encourage the good, punish the evil." Sure, he might have been disappointed, but you can't say him leaving was evil. So what if Chanyeol and the others knew about Chris being a predator and decided to drift off before it was too late? Fake dating news. The K-pop industry might be wary of relationships, but that didn't stop some iconic couples like Kai and Jennie, Taeyeon and Baekhyun, or Crush and Joy from happening. These idols look happy and in love, but the reason for their relationships are rumored to be less than pure. Sure, it may all be an accident that the days the relationships were exposed perfectly coincide with the days big scandals broke out in the political or entertainment scene of Korea. But is there a thing as too many coincidences? Celebrities have been used to cover up political scandals since celebrity culture basically started. I mean, isn't it funny how Dispatch came out with the news of Jennie and G-Dragon allegedly dating in the same day as it was revealed that the deceased Seoul mayor was facing sexual accusations before he took his own life? That was also around the time all the allegations about idols harming their classmates in middle school started popping up. The news about both Jihyo and Daniel and Heechul and Momo were revealed when the Korean population started growing uneasy with North Korea's nuclear weapon testing and South Korea's leadership. What a better way to distract them than dating news? All of this is just making me curious if these couples are actually real and what couples are a front for all these horrible things going on in South Korea. Groups forced to disband. Companies have failed girl groups way too much for it to be considered normal. We can call it self-sabotage at this point, because why would you mismanage the groups that bring so much profit? Makes no sense whatsoever. GFriend is a clear-cut example of this, and if you ask me, they were keeping the lights on at Source Music and they disbanded, just like that. But knowing how much the members loved being on stage and promoting together, fans thought it was sus that none of them renewed their contracts. We have already talked about a post that circulated on online forums that only added to the suspicions. According to this post, the GFriend members were actually forced to disband by the company. Allegedly, Source Music informed the members that they would be disbanding in late May, and they weren't given a say in whether they wanted to stay together or not. Source Music had already made plans to make a new girl group when the girls disbanded. Their decisions to get rid of GFriend of all groups to debut another one instead of managing both groups is difficult to understand. But considering the history of Source Music, Pledis, Cube, and many more companies, it's nothing we didn't expect. Stay in the closet. South Korea is not exactly the most progressive country when it comes to LGBTQ+ rights. The Korean citizens too aren't very tolerant when it comes to the members of the LGBTQ+ community, especially when they happen to be public figures, which is really ironic when it was actually revealed that agencies encourage male idols to engage in the so-called gay fan service. So the quote-unquote aesthetics of being LGBT are accepted, encouraged even, but being actually gay is where they draw the line? Interesting. Academic Kwon Jung-min said it best. On the one hand, it looks like the industry is very open-minded to shipping culture. On the other hand, they're not that much. If you come out, your fans will be so infuriated. This is probably the reason why idols who are part of the community have to hide their identities, so they can fuel fan fantasies while also keeping their careers from being destroyed by the conservative population. This doesn't stop them from showing support to the community from time to time, but that's the most they can do. Let's hope this changes over time. Scary nights. The K-pop industry is a dark and twisted place. While the music and videos might be cute, there's always something sinister going on in the background. After the burning scandal broke out, others started wondering how many more similar cases must have happened behind the scenes and will never have the slightest idea about it. The scandal shone on the sick idol system and the treatment of women in South Korea, huge number of whom face a lot of disturbing things, and female idols are no exception. After the disbandment of Yellowbee, Ari, who's one of the members, exposed a staff who had sexually harassed them, so the group could not continue their activities. She wrote, "Company employees and managers sexually harassed us. There were even times when they called us to go drink in the middle of the night. Of course, we had to keep quiet about this just because of our dream of becoming a singer." Before Ari, many idol singers denounced their management companies, like former after-school member Yoo So-young and Produce 101 participant Kim So-hee, who denounced managers and CEOs for inappropriate behavior towards them. This is just the tip of the iceberg though. In July of this year, there was a report of a netizen accusing an entertainment company CEO of offering him a night with a female idol in exchange for 30 million Korean won. The netizen claimed, "During the meeting, I met singer B and entertainment agency CEO C, who suggested I invest in the company because the financial situation isn't good. He told me, if you invest, I'll leave her with you." But unfortunately, this is old news in the industry and won't be the last time it happened. The Korean justice system also hasn't come to their help often, so solution seems to be the farthest thing from now. Fake idol profiles. Hiding one's real age in the entertainment industry is nothing new. Many have to do it in order to get the jobs that they would otherwise be considered to be too old for. Back in the days, it was really common for people to fake their age so they can get signed, and that tradition has continued up to nowadays. For example, Sistar's Boar's birthday when she was signed to Starship was January 30, 1990, but ever since she signed with Hook Entertainment, her birthday became December 20th, 1989. The company stated both of her birthdays were correct, so I'm not gonna say they're right or wrong just in case. Fans also seem to think Luna's Vivi is much older than the company claimed, due to her pre-debut modeling career. For things like weight and height, typically you'll see males lying about their height and females will lie about their weight. Just imagine lying about being 6 feet tall and then people see you standing next to another idol who is tall and you look like a little chicken. Well, that happens. JYP sabotage GOT7. JYP hating GOT7 has been a running gag among agases, but they say jokes are always based on the truth. None of the members renewed their contracts after all, and there are many instances of them straight up shading JYP, so they were maybe dropping some hints. We were already aware of how little JYP promoted them and how unsupportive he was of anything they did. Remember when the old man kept shooting down their original songs for not having the GOT7 color? But when fans noticed how differently he treated GOT7 compared to the other groups, something clicked. The reason JYP might have mistreated them and held them back could be because of how jealous he was. And there's too many things to be jealous of, so he wasn't short of reasons. Firstly, all the boys are insanely talented in everything they do. Second, JYP might have been scared of how much GOT7 could achieve with the right amount of support, and even though it could have been profitable for him in the company, he couldn't deal with seeing them have more impact on success than he ever had. So despite the fact that it was probably not the smartest financial decision, he looks like the person to do the most to get whatever he wants. Do we chalk that up to him being a bad CEO, or did he have a vendetta against GOT7 specifically? I guess we'll never know. Now it's up to you to tell me which theory out of all of these do you consider the most probable. And do you know any other theories that you would like for me to cover next time? Thank you for watching, bye!